Hello, my name is Carlos Torres, and together with Fred Alvader, we welcome you to the Back Nine Report, where we tee off on all things golf, covering the latest news, trends, and stories from the fairways and beyond. So, Fred, hi, how are you today?
Carlos, I'm fantastic. We got some snow over the weekend up here in Cadillac, but it's all melted now. It's up in the 50s again today. So spring's going to get here one of these days. Carlos, I really enjoyed watching the players this weekend, and there's a lot of storylines coming out of there. I can't wait to talk about it.
Let's talk about it. The 2025 Players Championship culminated in a thrilling three-hole aggregate playoff between Rory McIlroy and JJ Spaun. It was held on Monday due to the weather delays. The playoff commenced on the par 5 16th hole where Rory secured a birdie, Spaun settled for par. But the pivotal moment occurred right there at the par 3 17 as JJ T's shot found the water, resulting in a triple bogey where Rory managed a bogey, even though, it was like I thought he just was going to have it. But that established a three shot lead. Finally, on the final playoff hole, the par 4 18, both players went with drivers off the tee. And I know you want to talk about this, so I'm not going to go a lot into it. But there was some decisions there made. One, you could say aggressive or not, but that was the deficit there for three holes. I mean, for three shot deficit. It was too much for JJ to overcome. So Rory McIlroy won the Players Championship. But I would say, even though it didn't look like to me all tournament long, he was like the one that was gonna eventually become the winner. I know JJ was the leader of the tournament and all this stuff, but it seemed like Rory was just hanging in there, and everybody was just going up and down. And when good players like Rory are there atop the leaderboard, the ones that are not up to that pressure succumb to it, and I think that's what happened to JJ Spawn.
Well, I gotta give JJ Spawn a lot of credit. He hung in there a lot longer than I thought, and I know that you thought as well. And even making the playoff was big for him. And you could see the nerves, especially on Monday morning in the playoff. He, did not play a very good shot out of the bunker, and then missed a putt, and so he's down one right away. And then the key was number 17, as a lot of times it is at TPC Sawgrass. Rory hit first, had the honor, and it was only 130 yards up to where they wanted to land the ball on that green. You didn't want to carry it too deep because it would bounce over. The green was still firm enough that it was taking big bounces. So you kind of wanted to hit into the upslope a little bit to kill it. And 130 yards normally for Rory, that's just that's an easy wedge, right? Well, with the wind was coming directly into them, which was unusual. It had not been doing that. The wind had been swirling around, especially on Saturday. It was coming in. They showed that graphic on Saturday with the lines. I could not believe it. They were just going every which way. It was really interesting to see that. And then when they showed that I'm sorry, on Sunday, and then when they showed that on Monday, those lines were straight into them. They, coming, and it was blowing what, about 20 miles an hour. So it's pretty good breeze. So Rory actually said afterwards he had practiced on the 130-yard shot on the range before they teed off on Monday morning, and he knocked down a 9-iron. And so you could see they had the camera on Spawn, and he looked over in Rory's bag to see what he pulled. And Rory just hit a soft little knockdown 9-iron up there. And so JJ, knowing he's not as long as Rory, pulled an 8-iron and was going to knock that down, but he hit it flush and it was too much club and he flew the green by 10 yards completely. It was right over the pin, but he completely threw the green. So that killed him right there. So now he makes double, and he's down three after two holes with just one hole to go, which it's the 18th at TPC Sawgrass with water all down the left, trees on the right. It's not an easy hole. And so here, Carlos, is where I have an issue. And this is typical Rory, right? He's got a three-shot lead, one hole to go. The day before, he rips that 3-iron, hits a stinger 3-iron right down the middle of the fairway, perfect. Okay. Monday morning, yes, he grabs his driver with a 3-shot lead. Why? Why? He blows it way right. He knows it's too much club. So in his mind, he comes way out of it, blows it way right, 50 yards right, has no shot to the green. Well, luckily, Spahn did probably have to hit driver. He couldn't hit an iron out there that far for sure. He blows his way right, and he's behind the trees too. So they both have to chip out. Now they're laying 2 in the fairway, hitting 3. They just they both make bogey on the hole, and Rory wins. But it was not a pretty thing that the playoff on Monday morning. So Carlos, 2 things I have a problem with. Number one, Rory hitting driver with 3-shot lead on 18. That was just absolutely ridiculous. He's got to be smarter than that. He's got to be smart. You'd think the guy would learn these things one of these days. And the other thing, Carlos, who is the guy that said, let's have a 3-hole aggregate playoff on Monday morning? They finished up at 7 o'clock on Sunday evening. They could have easily gone back out to 17 and just kept playing it. It's the most exciting hole in the world. Okay. Why didn't it just go out to play 17 and play it to her done? I know it's probably in the rules that they have a 3-hole aggregate, but for TV, for the PJ Tour, nobody's watching on Monday morning. I did, but not most people are not. There was a bigger crowd there than I thought would be. There's probably about 10,000 people. There was quite a few people there. But I would never have done that on Monday morning. I would have gone back out there to 17 and just kept playing until it was over.
Well, it's a lot of things, right? Even though now we have a lot more sun, right? Given the time of the season, right? The month and all that. Um, I I strongly believe that, like you're saying, it's already there in the on the rules for them to play that. So it might have to be something that they change for the future. But I really like your idea of playing number 17 one more time, and until sudden death, let's see who's gonna do it, because you never know. You can play it 2 3 times and it'll never be the same once you play it over and over again. You're gonna have a different outcome all the time. But hey, going back to Rory's decision there, that's Rory. I mean, he has to showcase confidence and strategy to maintain control. That's him. It's just like Phil Mickelson asking him to try not to go for the pin. That's who they are. That's what they're made of. And I think if you just try to make him change, he's gonna get worse than that, worse results. He's just gonna be able to handle. Oh my God, I have to put
It's
it
just
right
not
now
his
in the
person,
middle.
just not his personality.
Yeah, that's not him. Now with
Like
JJ,
Brooke Henderson, versus Lydia Ko.
right, same thing, same thing. So he has to go for it. He knows he has a 3-shot lead. What? I'll lose one if I bogey. That's it. I need JJ. He has all the pressure. He knows JJ is not handling it well. And JJ had to be aggressive given his deficit. Was understandable. He had to try to do, he sees Rory going wide. Okay, now I have to try to make something. See, miraculously, if I birdie this and Roy goes double bogey, maybe I tie. But it was going to be really, really difficult anyway. So it failed to yield his desired outcome. For Rory, I think his triumph marked his second victory of the season, following his win at the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Throughout the tournament, I think he exhibited exceptional skill, particularly with his eagle on the par 5 second hole during that final round. That put him right into contention. And that's why I say, that's when I thought, okay, he's going to be there at the end. I mean,
Pressure applied. 3 under after 2 holes.
yes. And then you start seeing, oh my God, in the leaderboard, oh, there comes Rory. I better start doing something. So this victory for him not only underscores his current form, but also is positioning him as a formidable contender for the upcoming Masters, which we're going to talk about, where he's aiming to complete the career Grand Slam. How about Rory's performance?
Well, yeah, I tell you what, I watched pretty much all 4 days of the tournament. And Rory, he hit some wedge shots again. I mean, don't get me wrong, Rory's wedge play is way better than it was a year ago or a year and a half ago. Okay. I mean, it was atrocious for the quality player. His wedge game was terrible. Well, it's gotten much, much better, I have to say. He still has trouble hitting a fade with the driver when he wants to. it gets a double cross and ends up pulling it a lot of times. So he's still not 100% with all the shots yet. But when he can hit that big high draw, that's where he's money. He's comfortable doing that, and that's no problem. Now the good news is, Carlos, that shot works really well at Augusta National. And Rory's had moments there where he's done really well at the Masters, but then he, I don't know, just ends up with a problem here or there, or a three putt or something that takes him out of contention. So I think this is a year. I really do. This is Rory's year. I felt that coming off the end of last year that he was playing really well. His wedge play had improved tremendously. I really felt that he was getting back on top of his game, like we saw him back in 2019 before COVID, when he was just untouchable.
Mhm.
And he has that in him. I really believe that golf is boring for him, and he needs something to get juiced up a little bit. And this got him going a little bit, so he did play well. But again, I have to hand it to JJ Spawn. He stayed right with him. He hung in there, played tough. When he had a bad hole, he came back the next hole. He played, stayed in there, didn't let things bother him. I was impressed with how JJ Spawn played, Carlos.
Oh, he had a commendable performance throughout the tournament, leading into the final round. Despite that playoff setback, his consistent play, including what I think were crucial birdies on 14 and 16, the way that he played there highlights his potential. Very good. I mean, he went up for it, and this runner-up finish, even though it didn't look good at the end, at such a prestigious event, not only boosts his confidence, but also secures his spot at the Masters, where he's anticipated to be a strong competitor. So we'll see about him. Now, talking about the
If
two-time
you'd if you'd
defending,
have told JJ Spawn on Wednesday that, hey, you're going to be in a playoff with Rory, you're not going to win, you're going to finish runner up, he would have taken that in a heartbeat and not even played, right?
right?
Now I'm sure he was disappointed that he did not win and did kind of fell apart in the playoff, but on the whole, he played fantastic, and this was a big confidence boost and a big tournament for him.
Most definitely. It's a learning confidence booster for him. Now, the two-time defending champion, Scotty Scheffler, who's still struggling to try to get back into top shape. He concluded the tournament tied for 20. So he had opening rounds of 69 and 70, really average but good. He struggled over the weekend. Then he was 72 and 73, attributing his decline to challenging wind conditions. And as the reigning champion of the Masters, the forthcoming weeks are going to be crucial for him to get notable reps to regain his top form ahead of his title defense at Augusta National. So, how do you see his performance here at the Players and moving forward through the Florida swing?
Well, as you know, Scheffler was a little bit late coming to the party this year because of that hand injury he suffered over the holidays, over Christmas. And so he didn't get to play the first couple of events. And it just looks back to me like he's still a little bit rusty. So the good news is he'll probably play at least one of the events in Texas over the next couple of weeks. I don't think he's playing in Tampa this week at Innisbrook at the Valspar, but I think he's going to play in one or two of the Texas events leading into the Masters. So that'll give him time for a few more reps. He's close, but he's just not quite there. Like you said, he shot well, 69-70. He was in contention after Friday night, but 72-73 on the weekend's not going to get it done. And the wind on Saturday really seemed to bother him. He got upset. He didn't, he wasn't under control like he normally is, because you could just tell he's struggling a little bit, which is really unlike him. Like we've seen the last 2 or 3 years, he seems to be in control all the time, and so I think he'll get there. He hit some quality shots. He played pretty well, but you could just see on the weekend he was not quite himself, Carlos.
Yeah, and that you mentioned it really, that's the key. It was uncharacteristic of him. And I believe that's gonna be because of the lack of reps that he's had. I mean, it's gonna take a little while. I don't know if it's going into the Masters, he'll have enough reps to get to that top shape that he needs to try to defend his title. But definitely he's almost there. Now, some notable
Wouldn't it be
performances.
cool if we could see Rory and Scotty in the final group on Sunday at Augusta?
Oh, record. It's gonna be like watching Tiger at the end there. That's
Yeah,
gonna
that
be
would be cool.
that would be a big ratings boost there. So I have three people I want to mention for notable performances. I got to mention JT. He tied the TPC Sawgrass course record with a remarkable 62 in the second round, showcasing his elite capabilities. Ash K. Bhatia, he secured a tie for third place. He continues to demonstrate that poison talent that we've always talked about him. He's a very promising future on the PGA Tour. He just needs to wind down a little bit sometimes. He just gets a little flushed. So, but he definitely has a promising future. And one of my favorite players from here where I live and playing the Will Zalatoris, he made the cut and finished tied for 12. Always on, he's also on the comeback trail, trying to get that back to his top form, his consistent performance and potential as a rising star are back there. So I continue to watch him in this Florida swing. He's gonna be aiming to go at the Masters at top shape.
Yeah, I think Zalatoris is going to win again pretty quickly. He's playing pretty well. He made a couple mistakes at TPC Sawgrass. So he made three doubles on the back nine on Sunday. That's not going to get it done. So, yeah, Justin Thomas's 62 was just outstanding. He made 11 birdies in that round and then bogeyed 18 because he pushed his drive on 18 into the right rough, had to keep it low under the tree branch and was trying to run it up towards a green, and the rough grabbed his club, turned it over, and he ends up running it into the water. So he has to take a drop. So now he's hitting four on the green, one, two, and three out, four on, and makes bogey. But that was a fantastic round. And Carlos, I want to make a point. On the day before, on Friday, he was looking at an 80 with 2 holes to go, and he birdies his last 2 holes, which he started on the back nine. So his last 2 holes were 8 and 9. He birdies both of those. Okay, so if you take those 2 birdies plus his first 16 holes on Sunday on Saturday, he was 12 under for 18 holes. That's a 60. At TPC Sawgrass, that's unbelievable. So he finishes with 62, ties Tom Hoge for the course record at TPC Sawgrass, which is an amazing thing in itself. And plus the wins and all that stuff that all around there. I mean, it was not easy. So it was a fantastic round. And coincidence, he played with Hoge when Hoge shot to 62. So that it was kind of cool. And Hoge was in contention also through the tournament. He played very well again at TPC Sawgrass. So yeah, Justin Thomas round just outstanding. He ends up T33, but just to make the cut after shooting a 78 on Thursday was unbelievable. I want to mention too a little bit. Lucas Glover got a lot of TV time. At 45 years old, he can still compete with young guys. And Carlos, this is a golf course suited for Lucas Glover. It's an iron player's golf course. That's why we see all these different kind of guys winning. Rory was the only big name up there at the end. Everybody else was, so or just journeyman players. Bub Collin, my goodness, he's certainly JJ Spaun. He's certainly a journeyman golfer, right? So good to see Lucas have a good week. You mentioned Will Zalatoris. We talked about that. I want to mention a little bit too about Danny Walker, who this was a big week for him. Okay, this was just his 6th event on the PGA Tour. He qualified via the Korn Ferry Tour last year. So he was an alternate when Jason Day dropped out 90 minutes before his tee time. He got the call. He's in the restroom, takes the call. He's so emotional, he has to go out and sit in his car for about 20 minutes just to calm himself down before he goes to the range and gets ready to go. So this was a big deal for him. Tied 6th, $843,000. This puts him over $1 million. Comes off a T6 in Mexico. So this makes his year. Any pretty much anything he does for the rest of the year, that'll guarantee his card for next year. And remember, we're talking about the top 100 this year. We're not talking about the top 125. So you're probably going to have about 1.5 million or 1.7 million just to keep your card this year. So he's got a little work to do, but he, this early in the season, man, that's phenomenal stuff from him. So he's a regular here. He's a Jacksonville resident, plays TPC Sawgrass often. Home field advantage really helped him this week. I really believe that. A lot of times playing in front of your friends and family, which he had a lot there, is kind of a negative because it puts too much pressure on him, but he seemed to handle it well, stayed pretty cool and calm through the whole week. And I was impressed with him. He's got game.
Yeah, the rookie came from an alternate to a top 10 finish and an $850,000 check. Wow, that was amazing. And like you said, it's a very, very good feel-good story. The way that happened to him, get that phone call, that shock. What? I would have been like, stop playing. Come on.
Yeah. Who's
Stop
who's
playing.
kidding me? Who's pranking me here? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, it's really nice, and hopefully, it sets him up for more success on the year. But Fred, hey, it's not never too early for a Masters preview. So, as the Master approaches, there's several players speaking at the right time. So I'm just going to mention a few that I think of the top players to look for, and then we'll talk about some of the LIV players, and I have a couple of dark horses, maybe not so dark, but you can look at them. But anyway, I have three players that I'm looking forward to see this stretch ahead of the Masters, and I think Rory McIlroy, of course, he's looking for the career Grand Slam. He's going to be the big story going into the Masters. He's in 2 wins already, exceptional form, heightening expectations for him right now to complete the career Grand Slam. Everything that he does from here to there is going to be highlighted, so he's going to be the top dog in there. I'm looking for Sander Schauffele. He's the Open champion, and he continues to display consistent excellence. He likes to play in the big tournaments well, so it makes him a strong contender. I want to see his form going into it. And of course, I'm still on Ludwig Aberg lookout. I mean, despite he missed the players cut here, but I just think it wasn't suited that much for him. His overall performance this season keeps him on the radar. I think he's going to have a potential breakthrough at the Masters the first time he's going to compete there. And conversely, players like Scotty Scheffler, the defending champion, he's striving to regain peak performance ahead of the Masters. So I look forward to see how he's going to do in this next few weeks ahead of the Masters, because I think he's just going to be, and as you know, I'm a huge horse racing fan, and since that was the first thing I learned when I was a little kid. So they talk about you might be a little short before that race. I think that's what he's gonna be, a little short on form before the Master. But hey, Scotty. So let's see what we can see about him. What players are you looking for going into the Masters?
Well, Carlos, as we talked about over the last couple of weeks, I really use these Florida tournaments to get a feel for who's playing well leading up to the Masters, and the guys really use these events. They kind of work on their games, on certain parts of their games, getting ready for Augusta here. So we've got 3 events yet before we get to the Masters. We've got the Valspar over at Innisbrook at the Snake Pit this week. Then they go to Texas for 2 events, the Houston Open and the Texas Open, before the Masters. So they've got a little bit of time here to work on their games and fix some of the problems they have. For sure, the weather's a little bit better now. All that stuff's coming in. The winners thus far in the Florida events were Joe Highsmith, which we don't know. Russell Henley, who's been around for a while, so he's another one of these journeyman guys that's pretty good, but not quite top level. He's a step below the big guys. And then of course Rory at the Players. So of these, Rory I think is the guy that to keep an eye on. We talked about it earlier. His win here at the Players has to make him the odds-on favorite heading to Augusta. He's coming off a win at Pebble Beach. He's played well. He played well at the end of last year. His game seems to be pretty solid all the way through, and he's doing what he needs to do. So, is this the year that Rory fills out his career Grand Slam and wins the Masters? I don't think I'd bet against him, Carlos. I like him a lot. Will Scheffler get some good reps in Texas and win his third Masters? I'm like you. I'm not sure he's quite there yet. Let's see what he does in Texas. See if his game's ready for prime time. I love Colin Morikawa. You know I love him. He played okay at the Players. He finished runner-up at the tournament before that, and he's been playing very well. His game is pretty solid. He could be a contender at the Masters. His iron game is second to none, and that's what you need at Augusta, a solid iron game. A couple other guys, Patrick Cantlay and Xander Schauffele. You talked about Xander. You know, again, he was off for a few weeks with injury, and his game is just not quite sharp yet. I watched him quite a bit this week at the Players, and he missed some shots that he just never misses. And you could see he was not confident with his shots. He was kind of guessing a little bit. And in the win and at TPC Sawgrass, you don't want to be guessing. You want to know where that ball's going to go. And he wasn't quite there yet. Lucas Oberg, yeah, Augusta pretty much made for that guy. Okay, if he doesn't win this year, he's going to win at Augusta. There's no question in my mind. He might even win multiple Masters titles before he's all said and done. He's a young guy. So one other thing I want to mention, the LIV guys that'll be there. Okay, you got Koepka, you got DeChambeau, Cam Smith. But the one guy I'm interested in seeing, Carlos, is your guy. And I'm kind of surprised you didn't mention him. Joaquin Niemann has won 2 of the last 3 events on the LIV. He's playing about as good a golf as he's ever played. Coming into Augusta, he could be a real force. So those are the guys that I'm watching, Carlos, over the next couple of weeks, and anxious to see what they do at Augusta National at the Masters.
See, I know you were going to mention him, so I didn't want it to give away everything that I had to say about him. He's one of my guys, and his recent performances, and more than that, his playing style. It positions him as a notable contender there for that. I mean, last year, he demonstrated exceptional form in LIV. He secured victories at the ISPS Honda Australian Open in December, and then the PIF Saudi International. He also claimed titles at LIV golf events in Mayakoba and Jeddah. He continued his success into this year. He won the LIV Golf Adelaide event in February, then the LIV Golf Singapore tournament in March, where he finished at a 17 under par, score of 196. And his track record at Augusta National has shown a consistent improvement. I mean, he missed the cut in his debut. He was still an amateur there in 2018. It looks like he's been playing forever. He's just 26 years old. It's incredible. And he achieved a tie 40 in 2021, tie 35 2022, personal best tied 16 2023. So his playing style, to me, his strong ball striking abilities, particularly his proficiency with the long irons and driving accuracy, are skills crucial at the Augusta National. So definitely, I think he is one of the players to watch there. Go ahead.
My only negative about Joaquin is he's a low ball hitter. And Augusta, normally guys can hit the ball a little bit higher. When they carry that ball into those greens, you don't want to be going in there with line drives, because especially if they're firm and fast, like at 15, that green is really flat. If you're going in there with a long iron on a low trajectory, it'll skip off there and run clear in the water over there by 16 over the back of the green. So it's a tough place for a low ball hitter. They normally don't do that well there.
Yeah, that definitely. But I think he's gotten to know a little bit more. He's experienced now. He's more adaptable, I would say, at this time. He's more seasoned player. And as you know, the more you play Augusta, that's when you get better at it. So for him, he has maybe the top confidence that he's ever had in his career. So I look really forward to see him there. Now I'm gonna give you 3 names. I already mentioned Ashkay Bhatia. He's just 23. He has demonstrated significant potential. That tie 3 at TPC Sawgrass, his composure there and skill under pressure, even though sometimes he gets a little rattled. I mean, he was really good. His proficiency with the long irons, his adaptability to challenging course conditions, I think will suit him well there. Look, also, you mentioned one guy, Russell Henley. He has been in impressive form recently, notably when he won at the Arnold Palmer that win with consistent performances throughout the season, I think he's one another that has precise iron play and calm demeanor under pressure that makes him well suited for Augusta National. And lastly, Victor Hovland. He has demonstrated steady improvement and strong performances in major tournaments. And as we know, he's a really good ball striker. He's aggressive play style that may not serve him well at Augusta, but his short game is the one that I still think needs a work. It's a work in progress. But his potential to claim his first green jacket cannot be overlooked, Fred. So, any final words going into this now?
Yeah, one of the points I didn't make earlier when we talked about Ashkay, I watched him quite a bit, and he hits that big high fade. He swings so violently, he gets so far ahead, he's so thin, he turns so hard, and he hits that big high fade. And those wins on Saturday, he couldn't control his ball. It was just he'd throw it up there in the air and just let it go whether the wind took it. He can't do that. He's got to learn to put it back in his stance and hit a punch shot that keeps it low and drives through the wind. He's got to learn to do that. Until he can do that, TPC's courses like TPC Sawgrass are going to be out of his reach. I thought he played amazingly well in spite of his faults on Saturday. He hung in there. So he's coming every year. You can see him. He just improves a little bit every year. Um, Another guy, Carlos, and I mentioned him with the LIV guy, Brooks Koepka. He likes big tournaments. He likes majors. That's what he plays for. So I look for Brooks to be there to show up at Augusta National looking to win. Yeah, those and Roy's my favorite, of course, going in. He's proved it. He winning twice this year already, and his game's solid all the way around. So unless he gets in his head and starts making mental mistakes, I think it's his tournament to lose, Carlos.
Definitely. That was the exact words I was gonna say. It's his tournament to lose. But anyway, hey, everything can happen from here to there, and we'll be sure to bring you a big preview before the Masters and give you more opinions then. But so far so good. Looking forward. It's getting closer and closer to be here looking at the Masters. So Fred can't wait for you guys. If you haven't done so, follow the show, sign up, subscribe so you can get alerts and get ready to listen to the next episodes that we have. So thank you for joining us. Hit us a like and subscribe. Thank you.